$100,000 a year. For most of your life, that number was the finish line. It's the salary your parents said meant you'd made it. It's the number that sounds like a nice car, a house, holidays, and money left over at the end of the month. It's the income where the stress is supposed to stop. So let's test that. Let's take $100,000 and follow it, dollar by dollar, all the way to what's actually left. Because here's the strange thing about $100,000 in 2026. Almost nobody who earns it feels rich. They feel fine. They feel okay. They feel, more than anything, surprised. Surprised that a six-figure salary somehow disappears by the 28th of the month. And they usually assume it's their fault, that they're bad with money. Most of them aren't. The number just doesn't do what it used to. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how much of that $100,000 you actually keep. Not the headline, the real figure that lands in your account and stays there. And you'll know why the same salary is genuinely comfortable in one city and quietly underwater in another. Same job, same $100,000, two completely different lives. Let's build it. Start at the top, $100,000, except you never see $100,000. You see what's left after the government goes first, and the government goes first every single time. So before we talk about rent or cars or anything you actually want, we have to subtract the 3 bytes that come out before the money ever touches your account. Byte 1, federal income tax. On $100,000, a single person pays somewhere around $14,000 in federal income tax, once you account for the standard deduction and the way the brackets stack. Not a flat rate. The first chunk is taxed lightly, the last chunk heavily. $14,000 gone before you have paid for a single thing. Byte 2, FICA, Social Security, and Medicare. This one is a flat 7.65% straight off the top, and almost nobody thinks about it because it vanishes before the payslip is even printed. On $100,000, that's about $7,650. It is not optional, it is not adjustable, it is simply gone. Byte 3, state income tax. And this is the first place geography grabs you. Live in Texas, Florida, Nevada, or Washington, and this byte is 0. Live in California, and the same $100,000 loses another $6,000 or more. We'll use a middle-of-the-road state at around 5%, about $5,000. Federal, FICA, and state together take roughly $27,000. So here is the first number that matters. $100,000 on paper becomes about $73,000 in your hand, $73,000 a year. Divide that across 12 months, and you are actually living on about $6,080 a month. Write that number down because everything from here happens inside it. Not $100,000, $6,080 a month. Now that is still a good income. Let's be honest about that. $6,000 a month is more than a lot of people ever see. And this video is not going to pretend $100,000 is poverty. It isn't. The point is not that you're poor. The point is where the other $93,000 went and how little of it you ever actually got to decide about. So let's spend it, not on luxuries, on a completely normal life for someone earning $100,000. Not the survival budget. We did that in the last video, where bare survival came to $3,900 a month. This is the step up that the salary is supposed to buy. Slightly more room to breathe in every single line. Let's see how much breathing it actually buys. Line 1. Housing. At this income, you are probably not in the cheapest one-bedroom in town. You want a decent place, maybe a nicer neighborhood, maybe a small second bedroom for an office. Call it $1,900 a month. That is not extravagant for someone on $100,000. It is roughly what a $100,000 salary is expected to rent. $1,900 gone. Line 2. The car. And at $100,000, this is where the lifestyle quietly bites. You are not driving the 15-year-old beater anymore. You financed something newer, something reliable, something that doesn't embarrass you in the work car park. Payment, fuel, insurance, maintenance, and the depreciation nobody counts. Call the whole thing $1,100 a month. Running total on spending, $3,000. Line 3. Food. And here the six-figure life genuinely does feel different because you stop counting. You buy the good coffee. You eat out twice a week without agonizing over it. You grab lunch instead of packing it. Nothing extravagant, just unbothered. That lands around $600 a month, nearly double the survival grocery line. Running total, $3,600. Line 4. Health insurance. Let's be generous and say your employer covers a good chunk of it. Your share of the premium is maybe $250 a month, taken from your pay before you even see it. Plus the copays and the prescriptions and the one specialist visit a year that isn't fully covered. $250 a month is the friendly version. Running total, $3,850. Line 5. Phone, internet, and the subscriptions. The phone plan, the home internet, and then the quiet stack, the streaming services, the cloud storage, the music, the one app you forgot you're paying for. Individually, they're nothing. Together, they're real. Call it $250 a month. Running total, $4,100. Line 6. The one that separates a $100,000 life from a survival life. Debt. Because the person earning $100,000 very often has a degree, and the degree very often came with a loan. The average student loan payment runs around $400 a month. Add a credit card balance from the years before the salary arrived, and you're easily at $500. Running total, $4,600. Line 7. Everything else. And at this income, everything else is bigger than it was on the survival budget because your life has more surface area now. Clothes for the job, a gym, birthday dinners, flights to a wedding you can't skip, a dog, gifts, the dentist. Call it $500 a month, and that is conservative. Running total, $5,100. So let's add it up. On a $100,000 salary, a completely normal, non-luxurious life costs about $5,100 a month. And remember what actually lands in your account, $6,080. Subtract the life from the income. $6,080 minus $5,100. You are left with about $980 a month. Let that sit for a second. $100,000 a year, a six-figure salary, the number your parents called making it. And at the end of an ordinary month, after an ordinary life, you have about $1,000 left over, $12,000 a year. On a $100,000 income, you are saving roughly 12% of the headline, and that is if nothing goes wrong. And something always goes wrong. That $1,000 a month is not really savings. It is the buffer. It is the car repair, the vet bill, the flight home when someone gets sick, the deductible when you actually use that insurance. In a good year, it becomes savings. In a normal year, it becomes the thing that stops a bad month from turning into debt. It is not wealth. It is a shock absorber. Now, some of you are doing the math in your head and getting angry because your number is worse than this. Maybe you have kids. Maybe your rent is higher. Maybe your student loan is a monster. And some of you are getting a much better result, and you're about to find out exactly why. Because we have been hiding one enormous variable this whole time: where you live. Lesson. Geography doesn't change your salary, it changes what your salary is. Take the exact same $100,000, the exact same job title, the exact same person, and drop them into 3 different American cities. Watch what happens to that $1,000 of breathing room. It does not shrink and grow a little. It swings from comfortable to gone. City 1, San Francisco or New York. Here, that decent apartment isn't $1,900, it's $3,200 easily, and that's for less space than you had before. State and city taxes take a bigger bite too, so your take-home drops below $6,000. Add $1,300 more of rent to the budget and the $1,000 of breathing room is gone. You are now spending more than you earn. On a $100,000 salary in the most expensive American cities, you are not saving, you are slowly falling behind on a 6-figure income while everyone who hears your salary assumes you're doing great. This is the specific, quiet stress of the high earner in the expensive city. The number sounds enormous, the life feels tight, and you can't complain about it because who feels sorry for $100,000? City 2. The middle. Austin, Denver, Charlotte, 100 cities like them. This is roughly the budget we already built. Rent around $1,900, moderate taxes, that $1,000 a month of genuine breathing room. This is where $100,000 still does close to what people imagine it does. Not rich, comfortable, careful but comfortable. A real life with a real buffer. City 3, a low-cost metro, somewhere in the Midwest or the South, same $100,000. But now that same decent apartment is $1,100, not $19. No state income tax in several of these places, so your take-home jumps towards $6,400. Suddenly you're not saving $1,000 a month, you're saving $2,500, $30,000 a year on the exact same salary. Look at those 3 lives next to each other. San Francisco, minus a few hundred a month, going backwards. The middle city, plus $1,000. The cheap metro, plus $2,500. Same job, same $100,000. Same human being, working the same hours. The only thing that changed was the map, and the map decided whether that salary was wealth, comfort, or a quiet lie. This is the thing the number on the offer letter can never tell you. $100,000 in San Francisco and $100,000 in Ohio are not the same salary. They are not even close. One of them saves you $30,000 a year. The other one loses money. And they print the identical number on both contracts, which is why comparing job offers by salary alone is one of the most expensive mistakes people make. So why does $100,000 feel so different than it used to? Because the number stood still while the world moved. In the year 2000, $100,000 was a genuinely high income, comfortably into the top slice of earners. Adjust that for what has happened to prices since, and to match that same lifestyle today, you would need closer to $180,000. Read that again. To live the way a $100,000 earner lived at the turn of the century, you now need almost $180,000. The salary that meant made it has quietly become the salary that means fine. Not struggling, not comfortable in the old sense, just fine. And nobody sent a memo. The number kept its shape and lost its meaning, 1 year of inflation at a time. Housing is the biggest reason. In 2000, the median home cost around 3.5 times the median income. Today, it's closer to 6 times. So even on a good salary, the single largest purchase of your life moved almost twice as far out of reach. The 100,000 earner of 2000 was buying a house. The 100,000 earner of 2026 is renting a nicer apartment and hoping. Then healthcare, then childcare, which we will do its own brutal video on because it is genuinely its own category of damage. Then the slow creep of everything being a subscription now, everything having a monthly fee, everything auto-renewing. None of these are luxuries you chose. They are the new baseline cost of participating in an ordinary life, and they all landed on the same unchanged salary. So when someone tells you $100,000 is a lot of money, the honest answer is, it depends entirely on when and where. In 2000, anywhere, yes. In 2026, in Ohio, still pretty good. In 2026, in San Francisco, it is the salary of someone who looks successful on paper and quietly checks their bank balance before every dinner out. And here's the part that matters if this is you, or if this is the number you're chasing. The problem was never that you're bad with money. Look at the budget we built. There's no yacht in it, no designer anything, no reckless spending anywhere. It's rent, a car, food, insurance, a student loan, and the ordinary friction of being alive. The leak isn't your discipline. The leak is structural, which means the fix is structural too. The two biggest levers on that entire budget were never the coffee or the takeout. They were the two lines nobody frames as a choice: where you live and what you drive. Those two decisions moved the final number by tens of thousands of dollars a year. Everything else on the list was rounding error by comparison. The person who nets $30,000 a year on a $100,000 salary didn't earn more than the person going backwards in San Francisco. They made two different decisions about geography and transport, and those two decisions were worth more than a $30,000 raise. Nobody frames a cheaper city or a paid-off car as getting a raise, but on the math, that is exactly what they are. So what do you actually do with this? First, stop measuring salaries as numbers and start measuring them as what they leave you. An offer that pays $90 in a cheap city can beat an offer that pays $130 in an expensive one easily, and the person who understands that will quietly outsave the person chasing the bigger headline for their entire career. Second, understand that the two heavy lines carry the whole budget. A slightly cheaper place to live and a car you actually own outright do more for your finances than a decade of skipping lattes ever could. The small stuff is real, but it is small. The map and the driveway are where the money actually is. That is not a motivational slogan. It's just where the numbers are largest. And third, if the number still feels tight even after all of that, understand that it is not a personal failing. $100,000 genuinely does not stretch the way it did, and pretending otherwise just makes people feel ashamed of a problem they did not cause. The salary shrank in slow motion. Noticing that is not complaining. It's just finally doing the arithmetic. So, $100,000 a year. On paper, the finish line. In your hand, about $6,000 a month. After an ordinary life, about $1,000 of it left. And whether that $1,000 is comfort or a lie depends almost entirely on a decision you made about a map. The number your parents called, making it now just means fine. And the difference between fine and comfortable was never willpower. It was two lines on a budget. The map and the driveway.